Good afternoon. Welcome back. It's 2 p.m. with the trigger. Great to be here on a Thursday. Weather report from Washington, D.C. Rain and more rain and more rain. I don't know where you're at around the world, but the rain has continued. There's earthquakes, there's snowstorms across the Midwest, but everything comes to the far East Coast and we just get the leftovers. So thank you very much for sending that. Colorado, Minnesota, Iowa. We appreciate your leftovers. Hey, we are back again, and we were talking about the Standout Summit the last week and a half. We're going to continue to talk about the Standout Summit here today again. And the Standout Summit is coming our way January 30th through February the 3rd. Amazing speakers, leaders, influencers, authors will all be sharing, but it's the heartbeat. The main thrust of this is going to be helping you stand out and shine on camera, shine on stage as that thought leader expert we talk about every year at 2 p.m. and on how to rock the stage. Today, we have a great guest coming your way. And again, snow is falling in his neck of the woods. Chuck Copenspire is our guest today. He's a co-founder of Identity Pending. I love that name right away. That's just a cool name. He is a sales without slime guy. And he works with high ticket and marketing consulting. Chuck is the anti-professional professional. He's a sales coach, a funnel builder, a social media analyst, and he helps people understand how to represent themselves as entrepreneurs, find their footing in the business world, and change what they're and charge what they're worth. Sorry about that, Chuck. I blew that. Come on in, Chuck. Have a little bit of fun here today, but I love the fact the slime guy's in the house.
Slime buster.
How did you come up with that? Because I think it's a great catchphrase. I work on marketing and branding, but the idea of you are sales without slime. Boom. Love it. How do you get that?
Well, what I noticed is I started taking a lot of traditional sales trainings, and they started to make me a little bit uncomfortable with some of the tactics of like scarcity, urgency, creating insecurity and stuff like that. And then I started working with clients who felt really uncomfortable with those trainings also. So I started coming up with ways to problem solve for how to sell in a way that doesn't make you feel kind of like gross inside. Because enough people described that feeling to me that I realized we needed to solve the problem.
You know, I think you get one of those slime buckets from Nickelodeon and just have one of those on camera. It just will help you out there. Your mission is to show people that they can be weird, bold, and successful all at the same time. I love it. So what sort of clients do you work with? Who are the best target for you to get in touch with?
So the majority of the people I work with are pretty underrepresented in business. A lot of people I work with are queer, they're parents. Many of them are neurodivergent or live with disabilities. And so they just sort of need different solutions than what are traditionally presented because like for myself, I'm a parent and I have a chronic fatigue disorder. So I'm really interested in efficiency and how can things run without me when I have a bad flare-up day. And so by solving those problems for myself, I also get to share those solutions with other people.
Wow, that's applaud. Everyone should be applauding right now. That's a cool focus area to be in. I've not heard of many people really targeting that. So kudos to you. Today we're going to talk about SEO and AI for the organic traffic. SEO, let's get that one out of the way first because I'm really more interested in the AI. But we got to talk about SEO. The rules in the game have changed a lot. For a long time, hashtag. But there's more going on than just hashtags, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's more about the keywords that you use and picking probably one keyword per post or article to really target rather than keyword stuffing with a whole bunch. So if I just wanted to say like queer entrepreneurs, I would make sure that's in my headline. I would make sure that's in my, my H1 tags and that I bring that up over and over again. But trying to put every single keyword under the sun is going to mean that I'm competing with myself, if that makes sense.
Okay. So right there, you've already changed the game for me because I read last year that, again, stuffing never worked to begin with, but you should have done it, but everyone did do it. Then I got like on LinkedIn and a couple others, like pick five. Now you're saying one.
Well, for a blog article, having one that you're really trying to hit. For social, I would say if you can work organic keywords over and over again into your content, that's not a bad plan. And I think having 5 is a really smart number.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about the @ symbol? Because I've been a big fan of using the @ symbol pulling friends, good connections in, so they're aware that that's my target market. Is that still savvy, or is that now a little outdated too?
I would say it's great as long as that person enjoys engaging with you. If you're tagging someone all the time who never responds, probably not. But like I have a friend who's a copywriter. Whenever I have a new copywriting question or thought, I always tag her because she always has a great thing to add to the conversation. So if it's stimulating engagement and conversation, yes. The big no-no, especially on LinkedIn, is if you're taking people away from LinkedIn. If you're linking outside of LinkedIn, LinkedIn hates that. They will not reward you for it. But if you keep them on the site by tagging people on the site, good to go.
Well, right. And LinkedIn's gone as far as now, they literally have a slide that pops up. You're leaving LinkedIn. It's like a warning sign. It's like
Right.
the first couple of times I was like, am I all right to do this? Am I going to get back in? But no, it's just a warning you are leaving their atmosphere to go someplace else, right?
Yep. And they don't want people to leave LinkedIn. So if you put links in your post, it will not get as far. But if you put them in the comments later, I've heard that is just fine.
That's so that's the big kicker that I've found is if I'm going to do a video or something, I'll do a tidbit teaser video, link and comment number 1, go check out the full videos. So that's been the workaround that I've seen has been working. You're absolutely right there. So doing at President Biden probably is not a good call anymore. Should probably stop it, right?
I mean, to be honest, I love punching up on Twitter. So I do tag, people who are never going to reply to me, mostly just for fun. But yeah, I think as long as you're keeping people on the platform, it's safe.
I actually did that several years ago, and I was doing a post and actually a musical artist that I've been a big fan of. I did punch him in, and all of a sudden he gave me a message, followed some more posts, made some more comments, and eventually sent me a message that says, dude, I love what we're talking about. Here's my number. Call me.
Wow.
And I thought it was a gag. I was like, okay, now I think I'm playing with the phantom profile here. Called it up, and immediately I heard the voice, and I knew it was legit. And we hung out talking about NBA basketball for an hour and a half.
That's the power of building relationships on social media and being a real person.
And so sometimes it's worth the bump up. You never know what your content's going to pull in. So sometimes go for it on the proper platform. Let's talk about AI. That's really all the buzz. That is really the thing that everyone wants to know about. People are worried about now people using AI for their school papers and their thesis papers. But here in the marketing PR field, AI is going to be big for writing content, right?
Absolutely. And the thing that I keep telling people, just kind of the cliff notes, is it's incredible for research, but you need to go through and humanize it. So I will use it to develop an outline and make sure I'm hitting all the key topics I want to hit. And it helps. It's like a brainstorming buddy that can sort of scrape the whole internet. And I can give it keywords. I can give it tone of voice. I can give it, English fluency levels, and it can really customize it for whoever I'm writing for. But I always make sure to fact check everything in it. And I go through each sentence and I rewrite it just a little bit, because most AI has an invisible signature, so that the AI does not find its own content and read its own content. It doesn't want to learn from itself. That makes sense. So there's ways that Google and the AIs themselves can detect AI content. So you always want to go through and just humanize it just a bit.
Tweak it just a little bit. Go in and play with it. Put your own touch on top of it. That's a great tip, because I know people that are just all excited. Like, I am not a writer. Honestly, I'm not. I am working on a book. It's been a while. It's taken a while. But I'm a video. I'm the camera, the microphone. But I know the AI can help me, but I'm also scared of having it lose that personal touch. What else can we do to make sure it stays authentic and real, and it's not just print, tab, go?
I would say a great place to start I would ask the AI, can you give me a bulleted list of 5 trends for social media this year? And then maybe I would take that bulleted list and use those for headlines in an article or talking points in a video, but I wouldn't have the AI write the whole script for me.
Perfect. By the way, if you're watching along with us today, streaming on multiple platforms, welcome everybody. Feel free to use the chat, ask us questions. Chuck is one to take those. What other things about AI are things to be aware of, or where do you see the trends of AI going within the speaking community and kind of the leadership community?
Well, the other thing I'll say is that any good copywriter knows that you need to write between like a third and fifth grade reading level in order to reach the most people, where English is not their first language, dyslexic people. And AI tends to write at an exceptionally high reading level. So I always also put it in the Hemingway app, which will tell me the reading level and complexity of sentences. And I just make it so much simpler because the AI is like too smart and you need to make it human readable, if that makes sense.
So just go through that Hemingway thought
Mhm.
process, clarify it. I'm sure some people are right
Sure.
Googling Hemingway right now, and
It's
they're
a
going
great
to get the author, but what are you talking about?
Yeah, so the Hemingway app, it's a free app. It's a text editor. You just paste your text in there and it will highlight everything that is worded improperly or worded in a way that's hard to read. Which I love because I've always had like a bizarrely complicated vocabulary. I was reading, you know, Jurassic Park in fourth grade and like adult. And so I actually need someone to help me understand when I'm overcomplicating something. And so many of the coaches I work with try to use really big words to
Mhm.
show that they're smart, but they're alienating their audience by using jargon that they don't understand. So the Hemingway app kind of helps highlight when you're doing that and trains you to speak to people where they are as opposed to overwhelming them with industry language.
Similar to Grammarly, but different than Grammarly, right?
It's free and you paste it in Hemingway. I think Grammarly will sort of like be with you where you are.
Yep. Very good. So you're going to be a part of the Standout Summit. Welcome to the Standout Summit. Again, January 30th through February 3rd. And what are you going to be speaking on?
So, similar to what we talked about earlier, I'm going to be talking about how imposter syndrome comes up for people who are underrepresented in business. Part of why I decided to start showing up online is I didn't see anyone who looked like me. And I want to encourage other people to become leaders for groups that are underrepresented. We need to see neurodivergent people, people living with disabilities, queer people, parents, all kinds of people showing up for what they're passionate about. And I want to help people overcome the fears and blocks that are inherent when you go out on a limb like that. If you're a trailblazer, it's terrifying. So we need some support around that.
I I love the topic. By the way, going back to your recent comment about Hemingway, great idea from Lisa. She also will be speaking at the summit as well. See, but that's why we do this show. We want to give you tips. We want to help you out. We want you to learn all these amazing things. So when you talk about this divergence, when you talk about the underrepresented,
Mhm.
um, and again, you led with some of your own medical things like that. Did you ever think you were going to be on a stage talking about these things and trying to be a trailblazer yourself? Was that ever a part of your mind?
I think so. I told you a bit before that I have a background in slam poetry and improv comedy. So I've
Yeah.
always been sort of drawn to the stage, but I've never quite known where I wanted to be there. And I noticed that when I started sharing my experiences and my challenges of building a business as a person with a chronic fatigue disorder, people said, "Oh my God, me too. No one's ever talked about this. Like, thank you." And I realized that there were a lot of people who had never heard anyone talk about this stuff. So whether you have experiences like mine or you just want to understand experiences like mine, it's important for people like me to share our stories.
So that's very interesting because I've lived with a lifelong stutter. I've overcome it to become a broadcaster, but the stutter is still there. Been doing this for 30 years, but I found my tricks. And you're right. Every time I've talked about my stutter the stage keynote message, people are shocked.
Mhm.
But they also say thank you because I didn't know these things. I just thought they were dumb or off a little bit or whatever their interpretation was. There's much more to what we're describing here that people just don't know about, right, Chuck? There's so much more that we can share. What type of groups are you looking for to share to get on more stages? Who would be great audiences for you?
Well, something I always say for people who don't know what to do when it comes to making content is that you should pay it backwards. So I'm always making content for people that are like me 3 months ago. Um, so my ideal audience are primarily queer and neurodivergent people or people with disabilities because I have special business solutions for people who are like us. I explained earlier, I'm very concerned with efficiency because I have a chronic fatigue issue and some
Yeah.
days I can't work. So I need my marketing to be on autopilot because I've pre-programmed it to do that. And it might sound scary to think about automation, but it's actually really, really accessible these days. So I'm just trying to make people aware of the tools that exist to save us time because it's a lot of us don't have enough time. We're not all, single men in our early 20s with, nothing but time.
Not anymore. No, no, not there anymore. Chuck Copenspire, you're going to be at the Standout Summit. What day are you going to be on as of now? The schedule may change, everybody, but what day you're slated for?
As far as I know, it's February 2nd in the morning. I think 9:45 PST, not totally sure, but time zones are wiggly, but definitely the 2nd.
We are firming up the final details. You don't want to miss it. January 30th and February 3rd. Chuck, the co-founder of Identity Pending. I love that. Looking forward to have you back on, talk more about this sometime soon, but look forward to seeing you on Standout Summit as well.
Thank you.
By the way, everybody, don't forget, coming up tonight, we do have a very exciting edition of How to Rock the Stage. Jim Cathcart is going to be my guest, Hall of Fame speaker, Hall of Fame entrepreneur. He is a coach to the coaches. He is a leader to the leaders. Amazing man in history. And tonight we're going to go live on multiple channels again with How to Rock the Stage. So come right back here tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time and join us for a very special night with a true rock star, Jim Cathcart. Also, we are going to be pushing more out on the Standout Summit. Make sure you register. Come join us. There's links on all of our social media channels. And I did drop in earlier Chuck's social media links into the chat. Make sure you grab those, contact, reach out, and make a new connection today. That's going to do it for 2 p.m. Live with the Trigger. We'll be back again tomorrow with another interview from the Standout Summit coming your way. Until then, keep shining, keep rocking the stage, and stay dry.